Did someone find out that power outages go both ways, as Ukrainian deep strikes increasingly reach into Russia's energy grid? In the Kursk region, the city of Oboyan was partially plunged into darkness after a Ukrainian drone strike hit local infrastructure. Residents reported blackouts across several streets, with repair teams working through the night to restore power. Further south, the situation was even more dramatic in Belgorod Oblast, where tens of thousands were left without electricity following an attack on a thermal power plant. Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov confirmed that around 40,000 people across 7 municipalities lost power after the overnight strikes. Videos circulating online showed bright explosions lighting up the night sky, followed by entire districts going dark. Russian telegram channels later claimed that a missile strike hit the Luch substation in Belgorod, sparking a massive fire and triggering a cascade of outages across the city. Footage shared on social media captured the moment the substation exploded, followed by the sudden blackout that spread through the urban area. As Ukraine continues to target fuel depots, refineries, and now electrical nodes inside Russia, these incidents underline a growing reality. Moscow's own power grid is no longer safe from the consequences of its war. The strikes mirror the very tactics Russia once used against Ukrainian cities, demonstrating that disruption can flow in both directions. For many Russians, the darkness that once symbolized Kyiv's suffering is now descending on their own streets. And on the battlefield, the Phoenix unit repelled a Russian assault on Kostiantynivka. The Phoenix unit of Ukraine's armed forces successfully repelled a Russian assault near Kostiantynivka, a key position on the Pokrovsk axis where Moscow has been intensifying pressure in recent days. Russian infantry, supported by armored vehicles and drones, attempted to break through Ukrainian lines but were stopped by precise artillery fire and coordinated FP-5 drone strikes. The Phoenix fighters, known for their mobility and fast counterattacks, engaged the advancing troops at close range, forcing them to retreat and leaving several damaged vehicles on the field. This sector remains one of the most contested zones in the Donetsk region, with Russian forces pushing to gain tactical ground toward Chasiv Yar and further west. Despite continuous assaults, Ukrainian units maintain control of defensive positions, inflicting steady losses while rotating fresh reinforcements into the area. The situation is tense but stable. Another day where experience, coordination, and resilience allowed the Phoenix to rise and hold the line. The Ukrainian project Outages.com has published a photo of a document with Russian losses over 8 months, from January to September 2025. According to it, total killed in action numbers 86,744, roughly 10,843 per month, which is very close to our earlier estimates. Total losses are 281,550. The published document contains a breakdown by units. Our team will work tonight to verify whether the numbers match the Russian documents we have on hand, but at first glance, it appears authentic. Notably, over 33,966 are listed as missing in action, so the majority of them are likely killed in action. This is very close to the earlier estimates published in July and August, which pointed to 8,400 to 10,500 killed in action per month. These estimates have proven to be quite accurate, demonstrating that the methodology is precise and reliable. Interestingly, these numbers don't include deserters or those who left the service under legally permitted conditions. This means the actual losses are higher. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has arrived in Kyiv. Together with President Zelensky, he honored the memory of fallen Ukrainian defenders. Schoof currently serves as a demissionary prime minister, as the Netherlands prepares for a new government. Zelensky says Ukraine's defense industry has multiplied since 2022, with domestic drone and missile output projected at $35 billion next year. Over 40% of weapons on the front are Ukrainian-made, and the goal is 50% by year-end. Kyiv is launching an export program called Weapons Export Product to fund further growth. Ukraine is now producing 40 Bodana self-propelled howitzers per month, President Zelensky announced during the 3rd International Defense Industry Forum in Kyiv. The domestically developed artillery system has become one of the key weapons in Ukraine's defense industry expansion. Explosions are also reported in Kharkiv, as Russian drones attack the city. Unable to achieve progress on the battlefield, Russia continues its cowardly campaign of terror against civilians, launching drone and missile strikes on Ukrainian cities far from the front lines, targeting homes, schools, and vital infrastructure. And Russian paranoia over Ukrainian drone attacks is spreading globally. Russia's nuclear test site in the Arctic has begun tightening security over fears of drone deliveries, similar to those seen during Operation Pavutina. According to Google Earth data, researchers from the Barents Observer spotted signs of anti-drone preparations on satellite images of the Novaya Zemlya archipelago in the Arkhangelsk region. The rapid development of long-distance war drones has scared Russia into installing protection nets much further away from the front line than any drone has reached so far. The nuclear test site at Novaya Zemlya is more than 2,500 kilometers north of Ukraine. Long-range strikes against oil refineries and legitimate military targets have become routine for Ukraine, especially at a range of up to 1,000 kilometers into Russian territory. A few drones have also reached above the Arctic Circle, including several attacks on the Olenia Air Base in 2024 and 2025. The record-breaking distance came in August when a drone made a hit at the Voronezh M radar complex in the Orenburg Oblast, some 1,800 kilometers from Ukraine's border. Novaya Zemlya is as far away from the Ukraine border as you can get in the European part of the Russian Arctic. Google Earth has recently updated imagery for the archipelago, making it possible to study details on the ground for the first time from an online non-commercial satellite imagery source. The images from Severny, taken on August 14th this year, clearly show how the 3 rows of fuel tanks supplying the settlement now are covered with bluish metal nets. These nets, known as cope cages, are aimed at stopping drones from exploding on the tanks, and by that means preventing the fuel itself from igniting. The fuel tanks close to the port store gasoline for the vehicles used at the nuclear test site. Closer to the center of the settlement are some larger tanks with heavy fuel oil, used for the central heat and electricity unit. They are not covered with nets, nor are the few tanks for aviation fuel at the helipad next to the town. The blue-colored metal nets are similar to what is seen covering fuel tanks at other military facilities in Russia, like at the Olenia Air Base south of Murmansk, as previously reported by the Barents Observer. In August this year, Ukraine revealed its new FP-5 Flamingo, a cruise missile that allegedly has a range of up to 3,000 kilometers, making Novaya Zemlya well within reach. Russia knows that there are people in Ukraine with first-hand knowledge about the nuclear test site on the shores of the Matochkin Strait. It was a Ukrainian mining brigade that during Soviet times made the shafts into the mountains where underground nuclear bomb tests were carried out between 1964 and 1990. For this reason, the hotel in Severny was named Hotel Ukraina. Severny is one of Russia's most secret military towns. Former Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu visited the test site in August 2023, together with Rosatom General Director Alexei Likachev. Although the 2 last real nuclear bombs were exploded underground in October 1990, the main activity today is related to subcritical experiments taking place in a shaft complex 3 kilometers south of the settlement. There is also 1 tunnel in the valley ready and 1 more under construction, if Moscow one day should decide to resume nuclear testing. Vladimir Putin officially withdrew Russia's ratification of the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty in November 2023. A total of 132 nuclear and thermonuclear weapon tests are conducted at Novaya Zemlya since 1955, including the 1961 Tsar Bomba, the world's largest ever exploded. All activities at Severny are supervised by the Defense Ministry's 12th Main Directorate, responsible for safekeeping, technical maintenance, transportation, and delivery of nuclear warheads. The Directorate is one of Russia's most secretive military structures. On Novaya Zemlya, the 12th Directorate cooperates with the nuclear weapon designers of Rosatom, the state corporation that produces Russia's plutonium and highly enriched weapons-grade uranium.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.